The level of secrecy and secret facilities and the capabilities of our nationally kept secrets would shatter most people's imagination of what is possible. The people that know everything about Looking Glass, that have gotten all the reports and all the information, the elites of the world, probably figured out that that was the end of the game, and nothing could be manipulated beyond that point.
This is probably one of the more well-known black-budget time travel projects, with the exception of the Montauk Project. Many whistleblowers have said that the program was not actually shut down, but just classified into deep black. According to the alleged insiders, the Looking Glass technology was apparently used to look backward and forward in time, using the consciousness of an operator as a type of steering mechanism. The operator would sit in a chair that was apparently recovered from a downed extraterrestrial craft capable of interfacing with consciousness directly. When the device was turned on, strong toroidal fields of energy cycled about a pouch of water at the center, which acted as a sort of resonator for in-streaming energies from the point of focus maintained by the operator. The data was collected and projected onto video monitors at incredible speeds, which later needed to be de-interlaced to reveal discernible images. What's interesting is that the biases of the operator would have a direct effect on the images collected. For example, if one were to look back to the time of Jesus' crucifixion, if the person doing so was an atheist, they may not see anything at all. But if the person was a Christian, they may see the infamous crucifixion event. This is suggestive of a time-space mechanic in the universe, wherein the human mind is able to navigate through time itself. The work of Dewey B. Larson and his reciprocal systems theory provides the basis for this interpretation. Briefly, as described by Larson, the universe is broken up into two physical regions, as defined by motion. Below the speed of light, motion operates in 3 dimensions of space and 1 dimension of time. Above the speed of light, motion operates in 1 dimension of space and 3 dimensions of time. As bizarre as that sounds, the mind is uniquely equipped to navigate in time, which is able to access memories of the past, gain awareness of events in the present, conceive of future possibilities, and even imagine alternative events that did not actually happen. In other words, the human mind can select the point of focus, just like in remote viewing, and receive the information from the store of memories made during the experience.
Do you know the difference between Looking Glass and the yellow cube?
Yes.
Okay. Are you aware of what happened to the yellow cube and how it was used and so on?
I believe that the yellow cube still exists. I can't say for certain if it's on this planet, but I would say that it's definitely protected from use at this point.
Okay, well that coincides with the testimony we got.
The yellow cube or the yellow book would give you your possible future.
Yes.
So it took basically the choices that you would inherently make along a timeline and tell you what that timeline would be, given that you made all the choices that your brain would make.
Well, this is exactly what I was just going to ask you. What we were told is that leaders of governments and so on, people in high places, politically, would use this to try to see their most optimum future and then follow those. So they were using it to enhance their wealth, et cetera,
Yep.
in a very egotistical way. And that was part of the problem with it.
The Looking Glass device seems to be capable of the same type of process. To access a data stream from any conceivable location in space or time, steered via the consciousness of an operator. According to the testimony of Burish, the technology was provided to the human race during the Sumerian times, when an advanced contingent of future humans went back in time and provided that civilization assistance after a cataclysm known as the Deluge. The Sumerian cylinder seals were encoded with plans to build the Looking Glass device. Earlier versions of the project saw the development of an actual portal that an individual could move through to jump in time. According to Burish, accounts provided by captured beings known in the program as P-45s, future humans 45,000 years into the future, the Earth was destroyed by massive cataclysms around the year 2012. This is apparently because looking glass devices were actively being used during a major celestial alignment, which overloaded the organic energy grid of the planet. Burish further claims that the device has been dismantled as a result of discovering two probable timelines, one of which is the cataclysm described by the captured being. An attempt was made to look into the future, but no concrete data was able to be received past the infamous date of December 21st, 2012, suggesting that this date is a nexus point in time, whereby either Timeline 1 or Timeline 2 would gain momentum. In the last report, Burish suggested that Timeline 1, the positive timeline, had an over 80% likelihood of coming to fruition. Given that we are nearly a decade beyond the 2012 date, and no major cataclysms have occurred, we are most likely well entrenched within the positive timeline. This is undoubtedly one of the more intriguing topics in Awakening Times, which seems to be well hidden in popular works of fiction. Corey Good, a secret space program insider, claims to have reviewed documentation relating to this project.
It would be very hard to accept that all of this information that is currently held secret and classified is actually real.
Back in 1983, the CIA wrote an obscure report on the Gateway experience, claiming that an altered state of human consciousness could transcend space and time. Declassified in 2003, this 29-page document was titled Analysis and Assessment of the Gateway Process. It's thought that the report was part of a CIA investigation into the use of mind control and hypnosis in Cold War espionage. It's a dense and wordy report that touches on everything from neuroscience to quantum mechanics, shifting between hard science and pseudoscience with the ease of a tightrope walker. The CIA is essentially exploring the idea of inducing an out-of-body experience that might allow them to tap into some higher realm beyond reality. According to the report, the universe consists of a complex system of interacting energy fields, in which states are just variations in energy. Human consciousness is no different. It's just a vibrational pattern of energy. When hemisync is achieved, the report says it can induce an altered state of consciousness in which a person's consciousness is released from the physical world and turned into a pure field of energy. Now let's get to the last and most important part of the document. Please, pay attention. 28. Gateway Method. Having put the gateway experience in context by postulating a structural outline of how and why it seems to work, and having shown what it is designed to achieve, the time has come to examine the specific techniques which comprise the gateway training process. These techniques are designed to enable the user of the gateway tapes to manipulate the high energy states, which can be achieved if the user continues to work with the tapes over a period of time. The amount of time required to reach advanced energy states and to fully exploit the techniques varies with the individual. The sensitivity of his nervous system, his general state of mind, and the extent to which he may have previously developed facility in related techniques, such as transcendental meditation, are all pertinent factors affecting the speed at which he may expect to progress. The gateway process begins by teaching the individual participant to isolate extraneous concerns in a visualization device called an energy conversion box. Next, the participant is introduced to a method of encouraging his mind and body to strive to achieve a state of resonance through the utterance of a single tone, a monotonous, protracted humming sound that sets up a feeling of vibration, particularly in the head. He engages in this resonant tuning, as it is called, by humming along with a chorus of such sounds that are contained on the gateway tape. Following this, the participant is exposed to the gateway affirmation and is encouraged to repeat it to himself as he hears it repeated on the tape. This affirmation is a statement to the effect that the individual realizes that he is more than merely a physical body, and that he deeply desires to expand his consciousness. 29. Hemisync introduced. After that, he's exposed for the first time to the hemisync sound frequencies, and is encouraged to focus on and develop a perception of and appreciation for those feelings which accompany the synchronization of brainwaves that result. Next comes the technique of progressive and systematic physical relaxation, while the hemisync frequencies are expanded to include additional forms of pink and white noise, designed to put the physical body at the virtual threshold of sleep, as well as to calm the left hemisphere of the mind while raising the right hemisphere to a state of heightened attentiveness. Once all of this is achieved, the participant is invited to envisage the creation of an energy balloon, comprised of an energy flow beginning at the center of the top of the head and extending down in all directions to the feet. The energy involved in this flow then proceeds up through the body and back out into the balloon pattern again. The energy balloon, which sets up a pattern very reminiscent of the cosmic egg discussed earlier, not only enhances bodily energy flow and encourages the early achievement of a suitable resonant state, but is also designed to provide protection against conscious entities possessing lower energy levels, which the participant might encounter in the event that he achieves an out-of-body state. It serves as a precautionary purpose in the unlikely event that the participant's first out-of-body experience involves direct projection outside the terrestrial sphere. 30. Advanced techniques. Having reached Focus 10, the participant is now ready to endeavor to achieve a state of sufficiently expanded awareness to begin actually interacting with dimensions beyond those associated with his experience of physical reality. This state is called Focus 12, and involves conscious efforts on his part, while additional forms of pink and white noise enter the sound stream being directed into his ears from the gateway tape. Once the participant has achieved this state of greatly expanded awareness, he is ready to begin employing a series of specific techniques or tools, as the Monroe Institute characterizes them, which enable him to manipulate his newly found expanded awareness to obtain practical, useful feedback of value for promoting self-discovery and personal growth. In this way, the individual enlists the assistance of what Monroe Institute calls his higher self. In other words, his expanded consciousness, to interact with the universal hologram to obtain the information required to solve the problem. This approach may be used to solve personal difficulties, technical problems in the realm of physics, mathematics, practical administrative problems, and so on. Responses to the problem-solving technique may be received almost immediately, but often they come based on developing intuition over the next 2 to 3 days. Frequently, the response comes in the form of a sudden, holistic perception in which the individual suddenly finds that he simply knows the answer in all of its ramifications and completely in context, sometimes without even being able to put his newly found perception into words, at least initially. In some cases, the response may even arrive in the form of visual symbols, which the individual will see with his mind while he is in the Focus 12 state, and which he will have to interpret after he returns to normal consciousness.